Nate Diaz, what can you say? I'm excited. I know Robin Black is excited. Everyone's excited. He makes his return to the octagon at UFC 263 this Saturday. And Robin, as we just showed, you have a piece coming up where you interviewed experts on your premise that Nate Diaz is in fact a genius. What led you to believe that in the first place? And what did you learn from those experts?
Oh, yeah. You know, when you are observing brilliant athletes, high-level performers all the time, and then one or two, these rare 1% of the 1% jump out, you ask yourself, what is it about them? In Nate Diaz's case, it's something called choiceless awareness, something Bruce Lee talked about, where they just seem comfortable being themselves, and every decision that they make just appears to be correct in the cage and in life. And so I talked to the highest level of expert, and I was surprised that when I said, I think this man is a genius. Greg Jackson, one of the highest caliber coaches, coached many champions, including John Jones. He was like, yes, indeed, he is a genius. Dr. David Klonsky, my friend, a professor of psychology at the University of British Columbia, he said, yeah, this dude is a genius. Performance coaches, they all saw it and they all recognized it. And one thing when you ask, what did I learn, is that the real true geniuses, the people among us who are just the top level of brilliant, are geniuses in a specialized area, just like Nate Diaz.
And then Diaz, you think about him, it's amazing because he hasn't been in the ring for so long. He's not the headliner of 263, Robin, but he's always the most talked about when he's on the card. He puts it perfectly when he says he is his own belt. Nate Diaz is his own belt. Drake even chimed in with Ariel Helwani and said he's one of the true superstars of the UFC. What is it about Nate Diaz that makes him so appealing to so many people?
Authenticity. He's just real. And when you ask him about it, it's like, why do people seem to like you? He's like, it's not that hard to be not lame. It's kind of how he put it. But he's just, to him, that's just factual. He's like, I just don't act like these people. And in a world where we know exactly what a hockey player is going to say when you stick the mic in front of them, we know exactly what a politician's going to say. People are using lingo, people are using language, people are using narratives. Everybody's saying things that you expect them to say and behaving in ways you expect them to behave. This guy's just looking around going, I don't want to be like these people, and he's being himself. He's authentic, and there's only one Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz is that Nate Diaz.
And yet, this is not an easy fight for him at 263, Robin. In the octagon, you've got Leon Edwards, the number 3 ranked welterweight. He said earlier this week that he's been trying for a big-name fight all year, Nate Diaz has, but people keep dodging him. Diaz is an underdog in this fight, but you don't think the odds necessarily tell the story of how it might go down in the octagon.
This dude was a massive, massive underdog in the first Conor McGregor fight. Why was he able to win? It really takes apart what we do and how we try to analyze these fights. Conor's a better striker. This guy's a better wrestler. When you fight Nate Diaz, it's a different thing. To go out and do what you do, whether you are diving on a high diving board, you're on a snowboard, or you're fighting in a cage, you've got to be calm enough to express your training. When you fight Nate Diaz, it's a different thing. He undermines you. He makes you uncomfortable. And it's not just the way he's slapping you and giving you the finger and all the things he's doing. He's taking you out of the game, and you have to experience it to know it. People go in there to fight in a particular way. They have all the advantages in the world, and Nate Diaz makes it a Nate Diaz fight, and they perform poorly due to what he does. It's a different thing when you're in there with him.
Israel Adesanya, defending his middleweight title against Marvin Vettori. Is there a little shine off Adesanya coming off that loss at light heavyweight earlier this year? Do you think Vettori has a good shot at knocking off the champ in this one?
Fights are always closer than we make them. At any moment, you zig when you should have zagged. You just lean one way just at the time somebody's punching or kicking, and you're out of there. Despite that truth, Izzy never lost at middleweight, and the only time he has been defeated was by a guy who used subtlety, sophistication, patience, and experience, Jan Blachowicz. That's how he beat Izzy. Marvin Vettori is the pressure fighter, he slides back and feasts on these guys all night long. The fact that we saw him lose once, in our minds, make us think he's more beatable suddenly, but he's the same guy who beat every 185-pounder in the world, and I expect him to beat Vettori as well.
You've done a great job of selling this card, my friend. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited.
Enjoy the hostilities, brother.
Thank you, Robin Black.